Live.
And we live.
What up, Ranger Trucco? How you doing, man?
I'm fantastic, bro. How are you?
I'm fucking fantastic. It's a glorious day.
It sure is. It's a beautiful day in Las Vegas, by the way.
Oh, you're in Vegas right now.
Yes, sir. We just had a show here last night, and now I'm chilling, waiting to check out and doing this thing. So
Nice, nice. How was your show in Vegas?
it was awesome. It was on the rooftop at Commonwealth.
Ooh.
Super dope crew, great vibes all around. Dope location. Couldn't have gone better. It was London Bridge and I throwing it down.
Cheechmo played that party too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I I'm putting out a track with him.
No way.
Um yeah, on Admit One. I think it's coming out this month or maybe next month. And then I actually got two with him. I got another one coming out later this year. We're shopping that one right now.
Hell yeah. He's a super nice dude. He was a great, great guy.
He is, and his vocals are nutty.
Oh, he's doing his own vocals.
He's got his own vocals, man.
That's what's up.
Yeah, just like you.
That's what's up.
That is what's up. I love hearing producers do their thing on their own beats.
Oh yeah, it's the best.
It's nice to not hear. I mean, as much as I love samples, I love samples, but it's nice to hear somebody come up with some weird wacky shit on their own beats.
Oh, I agree. It's a little annoying to hear the same sample over and over again, and just like even to the point where you know the slice pack it came from and stuff like that.
It's so funny. I mean, you can. It's funny because it'll happen sometimes, and I'm like done working on a track, and I'm like, fuck, can't release that one. I'll better find something new to put in it.
All that work for nothing.
All that work for nothing. It sounded so good too. Oh well,
dude, it's so funny because it makes it so easy sometimes. Like one day, like one week, I was like trying every morning to make a new song, and I couldn't make anything. And then like I threw this Timbaland song into Ableton and completely made it into a tech house song, and it was just so sick. And then I'm like, well, that's never gonna go anywhere because I'm not getting that shit cleared.
Right? That is one of those ones you'll never get cleared. Actually, I had a track that recently that I found some random YouTube video, and it just happened to be it's from another country, but it happened to have like 7 million views.
No
And
way.
I sent it to a homie who runs a label, and he was listening through all my stuff, and he was like, "What about this song?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, unless you plan on clearing this sample with Universal, we can't touch it."
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Might as well just it's a crowd pleaser though. You know, you pull it out at the show and you get people excited, and then you never give it to them.
And never get exactly be like, "Hey, what about that track?" I'd be like, "Sorry, I can't help you."
Yeah, come to the
Yeah,
show.
that's for me. Come hear it live.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you are part of a new league of DJs. This is something we've never heard of before. Quarantine born DJs, not quarantine porn DJs. That's a different thing. I'm not sure if that'll work on Twitch. They have rules. Quarantine born DJs. What's it like to have like started your career in the middle of a pandemic with zero live shows to speak of up until
Disclaimer. I wish there was a disclaimer on the video. Ranger did not do any porn during quarantine.
Yes.
Dude, it was bizarre. You know, it was awesome. It was like this massive pros and cons because during quarantine there was this incredibly increased accessibility to labels, and you know, just everyone was shut down on their computers and looking for new music, and so it provided this like ultimate opportunity to get noticed by your favorite artists, jump in a
Yep.
Twitch stream, and you know, all that stuff. And then on the inverse of that, like I started to get some like steam going and start achieving things, and none of it really felt real because there was no proof, you know, to celebrate. There were no shows.
Right.
There wasn't even at a time. There wasn't even like let's go out and get a beer to celebrate. Like we couldn't do anything.
Right.
So I had like a couple of things. I remember Your EDM wrote an article about Tiffany, one of my EPs, and I was like in my room, and I was like, woo! I was pretty stoked, and then I'm like, all right, time to make another one.
It's so bizarre during quarantine. We've all gotten used to this whole idea of even on live streams, like you do this thing and there's people there in the chat, or there's like, you know, there's people reading something,
Mhm.
but you're still alone in your room at the end of the day. Like it's so strange to just be like, oh, this is awesome,
Yeah.
but I'm still by myself.
Yeah, I mean, I just played San Francisco with Space Yacht, and like people came up to me and like knew who I was. That was crazy. I was like, oh my god, that's right. Like we did this shit like while we couldn't see anyone. It's so wild. It's
um,
very eye opening.
it's going to be interesting for you to get out here and start playing some shows because I know you got a bunch of them coming up, and you're getting some dope shows, and it's going to be crazy for you to be like out there in the public and have to talk to people that know you now, and these are you haven't seen anybody for like a year.
No, no, I have not. I'm actually just looking forward to that. I'm much better at talking to people in person than I am like over social media and stuff like that. Like one of my favorite things to do is, interact, be social. I'm pretty outgoing, and so like I'm looking forward to finally being able to face meet people and everything and network and what have you.
Absolutely. Do you feel like you still know how to talk to people after all this time?
Took some relearning. I'm not gonna lie. Like the first two times I went out after quarantine, I was like just no idea what to say. I was like in the corner, and it was so weird. I had to like relearn how to talk to people, and I was like reading the room, and then I got back into it. Yeah, it was a weird adjustment.
For sure. Let's take a trip back in time. To like you growing up as a kid. You
Mm-hmm.
said that your dad shared a lot of music with you. What kind of music were you listening to in the house as you were growing up?
Okay, totally. So there's a few that like hit home, that hit really close to home. Like dinner time music in the background was always like, it was like Frank Sinatra, it was Pat Metheny, it was Luciano Pavarotti, like opera, like
Wow.
jazz music, Stan Getz, stuff like that. But it depends on the day. Like when we would go to school, my dad would play like hard rock. Like we would listen to "The Day That Never Comes" by Metallica on the way to like
Yes.
football games. He'd get us all
Got
pumped
to get
up.
pumped up.
And this is my favorite one of all time is when we would get sick, or if my brother or I had a cold in the morning, we would take medicine, and my dad would always play "No Faith in Medicine" by the White Stripes. So it would be like 6 in the morning, and he'd bring his laptop out and just go bam, bam, and we just take the shot of medicine. Oh, it was awesome. Music was always, always a part of everything. So I'm
That's so
super, yeah.
that's so great. That's your dad like. It sounds like your dad soundtracked your life with
Oh,
this music that he liked.
100%. Yeah, he's got a great discography.
Was he a musician as well, or was he just a fan?
He's very musically. He's very talented. He's got a great ear. He can sing. Um, he never played an instrument. My mom played the piano. My dad was like a child actor, and he would sing on TV and stuff. And he would do like commercials for like Frosted Flakes and stuff. And he would sing on the air. So that's what he did. That's probably where some of it came from. But he never picked up an instrument, and I wish he would. Maybe he will. Who knows?
That's so
Who
interesting.
knows?
That sounds like performance is like been is something that's like coded into your DNA. Then
Maybe. I sure do love to perform though. It's a lot of fun.
did you perform a lot growing up? Were you like involved in like musical theater or like band or stuff like that?
Yeah, I was in theater for like a couple years. Um, I was in a band. My homies and I made like an indie band in high school. I was actually never afraid of like the stage. I love to be in front of people. Like I like one time this girl came to my high school and she was like a rapper and she was super dope. She was
Yeah,
like bringing people on stage to freestyle, and I was like, I'll do it. I jumped up there and started freestyling with her. Like I always have loved that stuff. Like it's never really intimidated me. It's always just been a big like what if, like I always want to just go for it. So yeah, theater. I did some plays. I wouldn't call myself a theater kid, but I popped in.
nice. Well, it all contributes. It's all a patchwork of things that contribute to the person you are today.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and you talked about freestyling on stage. When did you start writing your own lyrics? Because it seems like something you've like honed in pretty well at this point.
Oh my gosh, dude, forever ago. I remember I was 11 years old. Okay, so I was 11. My dad went into a store and I was in the back of his truck, and it was the first time I remember writing lyrics. And I know that I was 11 because in the lyrics I said like I'm just a kid around the age of 11, but even a kid like me knows how to be living. And that was like one of the first vocals I ever wrote, and I was like typing it in my notes. So it's
Yes.
been forever. Oh, I love to write. I've always loved to write, you know, and I can't believe I remember that. Yeah. So
It flows at 11 years old.
yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute for sure.
So did you always see yourself like eventually getting into music?
I did. I honestly did. I I love music so much, and I always knew like I had an ear for it. Like I could like play a song on the piano after listening to it. And like when I took guitar, like I can't read music for shit. Like I
Yeah.
cannot. But I can hear it and I can play it, you know, and it just makes sense in a way sonically that it does not on paper. And so my teachers would tell me like, "Yo, like this is super dope. You should run with this." And I just was always kind of, you know, I never did anything, but in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm gonna do something with music. Like, I just love it. I've always just been like, I've naturally been able to understand it and gravitated towards it and respect it. And so, yeah.
Awesome. And you got your start like even before you were into house music, you kind of got your start early on after high school rapping over hip hop beats in a studio.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. So first was like the indie band. So I played
Right.
guitar. I played guitar and would like sing with my buddy Sam, and he was a drummer. And we would like sing at my house, and we would write like little songs and do covers of like the Beatles and stuff. And then senior year of high school, I was always like freestyling with my friends, like as one does, and like put on lo-fi and just freestyle over it and chill. And I went down. My buddy got a job working at a Mix Factory One studio in Detroit, and he was like, "Yo, you should come down and hang out." And so I went down like 4 in the morning. We made like 2 songs.
Yeah.
And then while I was driving back up to Traverse City, where I'm from, he calls me. He's like, "Yo, the owner of the studio just heard your freestyles. He's freaking out. Like, you got to come back down here. He wants to sign you and shit." And like, I was like, "What?" And I'm just like, "No," and do not like, not my thing. It's just a hobby, you know.
Right.
Shit got so real so fast, and like they had a contract for me, and they were trying to make me
Wow.
write songs about stuff, and like it was awesome. Like the people were great. I love those people to this day. It was a dope experience. It really pushed me creatively.
Right.
My first like time like in the recording studio, like, hey, like you do kind of have a bit of a deadline. Like, let's write these songs. It was almost like just awesome practice for what I'm doing now.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything. But like, I knew from the get, I'm like, I'm not a rapper. Like, like, I'm not. I'm not. I don't have that swag. I'm too awkward. But like, it was great to continue to you know, write vocals and kind of hone those skills.
Absolutely. And when did you fall in love with dance music?
Uh, so my brother took me to we would go to like Lollapalooza in Chicago,
Yeah.
and my brother took me to Electric Forest, which was amazing. He was really into, still is really into like dubstep and rhythm and stuff. And one year we went to Snow Globe Music Fest, and there's this tent at Snow Globe called the Igloo, and
Yeah.
it's just house the whole time. And I was like, you know, I had been to enough raves where I was starting to like figure out what I gravitated towards.
Right.
When I walked into the Igloo, everyone had personal space, and it was just like it was option four playing, and I'll never forget. He's playing "On the Train" by Will Clark.
Yes.
Everyone's like spread out and vibing, and I was like, oh, this is where it's at. So I just kicked it there like all day long, and I was like, what is this? This is like house music, right? Just got obsessed with it on the way home. Like I'm on the flight, and I had this massive EDM playlist of everything. And
Yeah.
on the flight, like I'm just like skipping every song until it's a house one again. And I'll never forget, like that's when it clicked. I was like, yeah, like I loved like the tech house where like it would build up and then the drop would be super minimal. And I was just on the plane, and it was like a red eye, and I was just on the plane all night, like.
Yes, I love that.
And that's really when it hit me. It was like 2017.
That's so awesome. And did you decide pretty quickly that you wanted to make house music, or did that come later?
Well, I had to so I was DJing first. So I started DJing probably like, oh geez, maybe even like 8th grade, like
Oh
maybe
wow.
freshman year. I was DJing forever, but I was DJing everything. There's a video of me like DJing, like just playing Spotify, and like when one song's about to end, pressing play on another one, and like my brother would throw these events in our hometown, and he would DJ because he
Yeah.
kind of like taught me how to DJ. So I was DJing forever. It wasn't until like I went to college that I was like, all right, if I want to ever make any real progress here, I have to start making these tracks myself. Um, so at Oregon, my freshman year is when I flipped the switch of like, okay, now I need to become a producer because I love this so much and like I want to keep going with it. But DJing alone it kind of limits you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In this day and age, it definitely does. There was a time when you could be a DJ by yourself, but you got to do all of the things now.
Yeah, no, but now you can just press sync on a Pioneer board and you're a DJ. So
Yeah, right. It's so
you
fucking easy now.
gotta go a little above and beyond now.
That is so true. And you weren't in
Yeah,
Oregon for that long, were you?
I was in Oregon for 1 year. 1 year, one of the best years ever. Shout out Oregon.
What made it so good? Why did you like it so
So,
much?
so it's Eugene. It's just a weird town, but it's an awesome town, and it's full of great people. And it really shaped me. You know, it being alone. I just like up and left. I mean, I don't know anyone. The first time I ever got there was moving day, and I'd never even been to the state of Oregon. I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah.
And so I really had to figure it out. And just like it was such a learning year for me, just navigating the ropes of life on my own and just growing up. And even in that 1 year, I just discovered like I had to prioritize. I realized I couldn't afford it. I had to come up with a backup plan. I didn't want to like stress anyone out, and I wanted to be smart financially. So like all in 1 year, I basically was like figuring out that production was my passion, and that like I had some talent and I was getting good feedback, and I was like, you know what? Let's be real. I can't afford to go here anyways, and I want to do something I love. So I negotiated a switch up, and that's when I went to Icon instead. Cause like, yeah, it kind of worked out a deal with my parents, like supporting me. It was like, give me 1 more year, and they let me go to Icon.
How'd your
Now I'm
parents
on my
feel
own,
about that?
baby.
That's awesome. But how did your parents feel about that? I mean, it sounds like they've always been pretty supportive of all of your things. And your dad is so musical, and your mom played piano. So how'd they feel about you just deciding you're like, I'm gonna up and leave this stability, um,
Right, and the
and
structure, yeah.
the structure, and move on to something that I love, but may not be as stable.
Yeah, no, it came as a shock to them because they visited in the spring, and I'm like taking them around the university and like introducing them to everyone, and like it's the happiest place on earth. Like they can visibly see that I'm loving it, and then we sit
Right.
down to eat, and I go, so want to leave? And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, like can't afford it. I don't want to be 100 grand in debt. And I started Ableton, and I love it, and I think I could really do something with it. And it took them a lot. It probably stressed them out a lot, but like I
Yeah.
said, they've always been very supportive. And we worked it out. We worked out a deal. They were like, "We'll give you a year, you know, and then you just got to figure it out. And if you can't, like, coming home and you're getting a degree and whatever." But they've been huge supporters, and I can't thank them enough for believing in the vision. And couldn't do it without them.
Absolutely. And they're still supporting you now, yeah? They're still
My
I hear
mom
you
was just in Vegas with me last night.
I have
She,
to ask you a question about that.
what's up?
Did your mom really bring swim trunks?
Yes, that's a true
This is a
story.
true
Oh my
story.
god.
Please
Wait, I
tell this
wonder if they're
story.
still here. No, I think she might have taken them with. Yo, she shows up. She texted me and she's like, "Hey, the hotel's got a great pool. Oh, I don't have swim shorts out in LA. I lost them or something." And I was like, "Can you bring me some?" She's like, "Sure." And then we get to the hotel, and I was like staying with her, and she opens her suitcase. She goes, "Look what I brought you." These tiny little American flag swim shorts from when I was like 8th grade or something. I was like, oh, thanks.
Yes,
So
I
I'm like,
love
I'm
it.
not gonna not go to the pool. So I put them on. And I'm walking around, and she's just like, "You look ridiculous." I'm like, "You brought them." Yeah, that's a true story.
That is awesome. Your mom sounds fun.
She's the best. Yeah, she was just out all night with us last night. I kept checking in with her. I'm like, "You want to go home yet?" She's like, "No, no." She's chilling. Her and I were out till 3 in the morning last night. You know, at the club, and she had a great time, and I was really happy she came out and kind of saw what I did. It was the first time she really saw me DJ, so it made her really happy to see.
to see
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Did she understand like what you're doing up there yet?
Not really, but she goes, "You look happy, and that's all I care about." So I was like, "Whatever, we're good." She just probably has no idea. I was trying to explain to her back to back, right over.
Over the head, yeah,
Oh
for
my
sure.
god, yeah. I was like, "It's the same thing as DJing, but it's like two different." And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "I don't care. You look happy." I'm like, "I am happy. It's all good."
That's a beautiful thing. It's
Yeah.
great that you're able to bring your mom out for that.
Oh yeah, we had a great time. I'm sure she'll be to another one soon. She had a really fun time.
Awesome. And then how was your time at Icon? I mean, in the past, Icon hasn't been around for a long time, but it's really like developed itself as like the place to be if you're going to be a dance music producer.
Yeah.
So what was it like going to school there and like learning from all these iconic people?
Yeah, Icon. Ooh. Yeah, Icon was great. I unfortunately had to do 2 years of it over Zoom because I was in it like right when the pandemic hit.
Oh,
But no, it was good. It was the curriculum was awesome. Um, it taught me so much with my production, so much about the business. I met some great people. I met Petey there, who was my mentor third quarter, who really kind of like he really believed in my music. And we got like the freshman comp on night bass was achieved when I was working with him. Like we were working on the same song for like Earring and was the same song for like 4 weeks.
yeah.
And we just kept coming back to it. And Petey kept wanting more. He's like, I want more. He's like, I want this to be like this. I was like, why can't we just move on? I was like, I didn't realize what was happening. And then he's like, finally we finished it. And he's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna send this to Slater. And I'm like, what? No way. So like, that was sick. I met some great people, some great friends, some great instructors. Yeah, it was awesome, man. It was super detrimental to what I'm doing.
How are you finding yourself like liking LA?
Dude, I feel like it's way cooler when we're not in quarantine, but it's fine. It's great. It's full of young creatives like myself. I'm actually just starting to like finally have friends and shit, because we get to go out a little bit. So
Right.
I have stuff to do now, which is awesome. So it's growing on me. I'm like deathly afraid of earthquakes though. Like ooh, I don't like them.
Have you
But
experienced one yet? Have you
oh my
a
god,
little one?
I've experienced like six of them. One I experienced like a 4 point something right by my house, and it woke me up. And oh my god, I almost moved home. I was like,
That's a little rumbler, man.
mm,
I grew up in the Bay Area, so an
mm-hmm.
earthquake happens, and half the time, if it happens at night, I don't even wake up. People are like, "An
Yeah,
earthquake just happened." I'm like, "Oh, really?"
yeah. I wish I could be like that, but I'm not. I panic.
Do you see yourself
But yeah,
staying? Do you see yourself staying in California for a long time, or do you find yourself wanting to move back to home?
I don't want to move back home. No, I don't want. No, I don't want to move back to Michigan. But we'll see. I definitely see myself doing a few more years. Like I love it. It's great. I want to continue to work my way up, and I'm great. I'm doing fine right now, and I hope to continue this trajectory. And I would love to actually do some time in New York. I love New York, and maybe I'll get over there sometime. But LA's great. I'm not complaining at all.
That's good. That's awesome. It sounds like you found like a new home then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It feels like home. It does.
Well, let's talk about Space Yacht for a second. It's it's dope. Going back to that idea of you being a quarantine born DJ. I mean,
Hmm.
you got discovered by Space Yacht during quarantine on one of their streams. Um,
Yes.
yeah, can you tell that story? Because it's really fascinating. Like what they decided to start doing when they launched a record label is to start. They're doing their A&R live, which is just a crazy thing to do. But
Literally, yeah.
they actually discovered you on stream. How'd that happen, and how quickly did things move forward after that?
Dude, it was so cool. So actually, this was right after I'd heard the night base news for Earring, and so when Space Yacht did episode number 2 of the Tune Reactor, I was like, I need to send something in, and like I kind of knew that one track had validation because of Slater wanting to sign it. So I was like
Yeah.
playing it safe, and I sent them that, and then they DM'd me, and they were like, "Do you have any more?" And I was like, "Yeah," and I didn't. I didn't have another song, um, but it was just like I was so inspired by someone wanting my music that I just like that's when I made Tiffany was that night, like I responded, yes, I'll have it for you tomorrow. And then I was like, my buddy was actually up from San Diego and we were supposed to hang
Yeah.
out. And I was like, yo, I can't hang out. I got to do this. So he kicked it. He sat in the room while I made Tiffany. And then I made this other song, which didn't end up going anywhere. But next day I turned him in. I'm like, this is what I got for you. And then on air, they heard Tiffany and I have the video still. And they're like, yo, you got to play Tech My House. You got to play Tech My House. And got booked on the spot. Got to play Tech My House stream from Social Sanctuary, opening for like Dylan Nathaniel and Steady Rock and Hotel Garuda and these dudes that like I've looked up to forever. And it was so cool. It happened so fast I didn't even think it was real. I thought they were joking, and I like went on this huge walk. I was like, I think I just got booked for Space Yacht. My parents were like, "What's that?" And my brother was like, "No way!" So, yeah, that all happened really fast. And then I think I sent them FTP, which ended up becoming the second song on the Space Yacht EP. And
Right.
they were like, all right, like, who are you? And they reached out and got in touch. And we've been like working together ever since. And they've been super supportive of all my music. And yeah, I can't thank those dudes enough. That it all happened so fast, but they were huge, still are just huge supporters. And we have a great relationship. I love those dudes.
It sounds like you've been doing music for a while. It's not like you're like an overnight success, but this all happened really, really quickly for you.
Super quick, yeah.
How is it easier to deal with like the shock of that happened because you're not out at shows and having other things to do? Do you feel like that's been kind of a benefit to you?
You mean because I'm just like spending all my time like in my room and like figuring this out and dealing with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it I think it has. It's actually just now starting to get like real because I have been on the road for shows.
Right.
So like things that are easily done within like the scheduling of my room, and I can just write them down and I can get a good night's sleep and everything. So yeah, to answer your question, I think that it was a little less intimidating because it was all happening during quarantine and I wasn't able to just get right out into the scene. But it also like helped me, kind of manage my time and set habits for when that time does come.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy that it happened beforehand and I kind of got to get in a flow of like, social posting, how to be interactive, how to prioritize my time, stuff like that. And I'm carrying that into now doing it like on the road, like doing this from a hotel room and stuff like that. And yeah, it was great to form those habits beforehand for sure.
Do you think you'll be able to produce on the road?
Yeah, actually, dude, I produce like the only place I can produce is on an airplane. I want to so bad because like it's such a perfect time. Like you're
Right.
sitting in the sky and Ableton doesn't need Wi-Fi. Like it's the perfect time. And whenever I try to produce on an airplane, I always end up putting the boom boom into my song because I hear it in my subconscious and I cannot make a song without it. And I can produce I love producing off my my MacBook speakers, like I
Yeah.
don't need much. Like the only difference between producing here and in my room in LA is monitors. Like I don't have anything, I'm very, very bare bones. But dude, it's fun and you catch inspiration I've been more inspired now from playing San Francisco and Vegas than I have the entire quarantine. Like I was like, oh, I just got to make it to shows. I just got to make it to shows. Because like when you're just not doing anything, it's
Yeah.
hard to come up with a new original idea. Like from what? Sitting at my sitting in my room all day, like
Absolutely.
very inspired to write a song about Burbank. Like it's not gonna happen. And like now I finally get to get out and like see shows and read the room, and it's like, oh, this is working. People are reacting to this. People love to be patient. People love a drop fake out. Like it's so great. Now it's like, oh, now I can make music like way easier.
That's so awesome. What was it like to actually hear some of the? I mean, you produced so much in quarantine that you never actually got to hear on a live system. So what was it like getting to hear those songs for the first time on loud speakers?
Some
I've
of
been
them,
to the Midway in San Francisco. Those
yeah,
speakers fucking crush.
dude, those speakers are
And
insane.
they it's not just the speakers on the stage, they go all the way back.
Bro, their sound system is
It's
ridiculous.
fucking amazing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You know, it's some of them you can hear it. It's funny. It's like some of them are like, "Oh yeah, like I killed it on this one." And then the other ones I'm like, like I hope no one notices that. Like this thing definitely needs a remaster. So, it's great to test them out. I usually like save the ones I want to test out for like an after or something, so I'm not just like, main show, risking it.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a super nice trial. Like, oh, is this ready to go, or do I need to fatten this up?
Nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. Um, and I was going to ask about about your work with Nightbase, but it sounds like that Nightbase deal was signed before you got to Space Shot, which is an interesting thing that happens in music. Everything takes so long to come out that you never know when something was actually finished.
Right, right. Yeah, Nightbase came first, but the follow up to Nightbase came after Space Yacht. So like I just got on the freshman comp before Tiffany, but then it took me a little bit because PD and I were talking a lot, and um, he was like, we want to do a solo EP. Like, can you get Slater some more tracks so you can do a solo EP? And it took me a really long time, because it was like this kind of inner conflict between like maintaining an authentic sound to me that fits Night Bass, and it was kind of doing my head in. Like, I don't want to like just make Night Bass. I want to make my music and um,
Right.
have them appreciate it. So it took a while, and finally I was in an airport flying from Seattle to back to LA. I just gone through Oregon, and I'd sent
Yeah.
Slater like 5 songs, and he took 4 of them, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Wow.
And he was like,
Wow.
"Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, I want this for the comp, and I want these 3 for the EP, and then I want one more for the EP." And we got it done, and I was like, I was stoked. I was in Wyoming with my family in February when that finally came to fruition, and he was like, "Yeah, we're ready to go. Like, we got the night based comp, and then we got your EP, and so that was huge." It took a lot of time. It did. It stressed me out a lot because I was like, "Oh my god, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull this off." Like how to Chris Lorenzo every day, but I ended up just like sending him some like original shit that I was really proud of, and he loved it. And I can't thank him enough. That is for just like you know, just like supporting my sound. So
Absolutely. I think it's really interesting too that you signed to Nightbase because when I initially heard your music, I was like, oh, this makes sense for Space Shot because of their the Tech My House stuff. And then I
mm-hmm.
saw you come on Nightbase and I was like, I wonder how this is going to work. But it does. And I can appreciate that. I like that you didn't try to be Nightbase.
Yeah, I
Like
think that's what's
you didn't do something outside of yourself just so you could get the nod. You did
exactly
your own thing and they're supporting that. How does it
for
feel to have like a label that kind of has a sound? Because Nightbase has a sound. How
oh
does it feel
god,
to have a
yeah.
label that has a sound like really say, yeah, we don't always have to do that. This is good house music. Let's fucking release it.
I think it's just a testament to the whole idea that like you shouldn't make music for the label. You should make music for yourself. I am a little like surprised that they took. I'm not gonna lie, it's very techy for Night Bass and for what Night Bass has traditionally been. But at the same time, like you got to think of all those demos like that AC Slater is getting in a day. That is someone trying to copy that Night Bass sound. Um, you got to just do you. It's just it all goes down to like don't make a music for a label. Make music for yourself. Make music that fits your vibe, and that comes from a authentic place. And then just see who wants it. But it's not worth stressing over. And that's something that I really had to like. I was like trial and error, dude. I had like so many songs that I wanted to be the night based one, and I just ended up throwing them away. And then finally, like when I made Free Dessert, um, super like almost like Dirty Bird sounding techie, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, why not? Like I'm just gonna send it to him and see what he thinks. And he ended up playing it on the stream like that night, and was like, he's like, this is sick. So yeah, no, I don't know. It was definitely surprising, but
Yeah.
I'm really happy that he opened his mind to it, and he included me on that label. I'm very honored to be a part. As you can tell, I'm repping
Yes,
hard right now.
repping hard
Yeah.
right now. I see that.
Yes.
Nice. And I want to talk to you about your vocals because they're just like such an integral part of your music. Where do you come up with all this weirdness? Because
Dude.
it's, I mean, like to say that your music is quirky, I don't think is enough. But it's a descriptor, but it's just not enough. Like it's fun and it's I get a sense of who you are from it. Like I could already tell before I got in this call with you that this guy's gonna be fun. Like, where do you come up with this shit, man?
Dude, it's just like it's like my life's just what I see, you know? It's like I don't overthink it, and honestly, like I don't try to write about things that I have no experience. Like I'm not writing country songs. You know what I mean? Like I'm not
Right.
writing about like drinking beer in my truck because I don't have a truck and I don't hang out in a field and like that's not like I'm just like living my life as a 21-year-old in LA and like this is what I see and like I see people, you know, I see girls like skip the line, you know, and
I was gonna ask you.
yeah, no, like this is just all like what club culture kind of like is. And
Right.
for me, it's just like it's easy to write about because it's something I want to be a part of, but it's also something that I don't want to be a part of. You know what I mean? Like it's something that I want to be an artist, obviously, but I also just like there's such a comedic beauty to the club and
There
all
really
this
is.
stuff going on and like these girls with the Tiffany on their wrist and like all this stuff is going on. Um, and then sometimes I'm just having fun. Like sometimes like with FTP, like I wrote FTP like during work at Shake Shack, like in my head. Like I just like always love to write stuff. Um, I write like I have notes and notes of songs that that will maybe come out one day and maybe not. I just love I don't know, man. I just like I see things like free dessert. Literally
Yeah.
couldn't think of lyrics to save my life. Like days and days of nothing, and then I'm scrolling through dessert and I see a girl with a cake and a sparkler in it, and I knew her, and it said happy birthday. I'm like, it's not her birthday. I know when her birthday is, and it's not today. And I'm like, dude, girls are always like doing that. They're like going to like in my hometown in Michigan, it happened
Yeah.
all the time. After basketball games, girls would go to Applebee's and like one of the girls would say it was her birthday so they'd get free dessert, you know? So it was just like I don't know, it's such a funny concept to write about. Like, yeah, tell me lies like you tell to the restaurant. It's your birthday. Get that free
I
dessert. I don't
love
know.
that. So I feel like there's like a degree of the degree of comedy, and there's a degree of like
Sure, yeah.
kind of like I'm not going to say hip hop, but there's definitely a degree of like rap to your music. What comedians do you like, and what rappers do you like?
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
where are you getting this shit from?
Convenience, bro. Oh my gosh. Let's see. I love Dave Chappelle. I've seen like his I've seen his stand up so many times. Oh my gosh. Who else do I like? Comedians. Bro. I have to think about that. You kind of
Yeah.
that surprised me. That's a good question. Hip hop artists like I love the super poetic dudes like the goats like Kendrick Lamar. I listened to a bunch of that Good Kid Mad City album was ridiculous. J. Cole's an insane lyricist. I love how these dudes like tell these stories. Um, yeah, man. There's a bunch. Joey Badass is sick.
You're picking all my
Um,
favorites right now.
I love Action Bronson, dude.
This is
Love
all like
him,
real.
dude.
This is all real hip hop too.
Yeah, man. Yo, for sure. My dad would play us. We'd listen to Biggie all the time. Like, grew up on Notorious B.I.G. and stuff like that. So, dude, I wish I had more comedians. I totally just drew a blank there. But
Hey, it's all good. Dave
yeah,
Chappelle is a good one. I mean, like if you're gonna pick a comedian, like he's one of the best observational comedians like I've ever seen, and he tells it like it is every single time. And sometimes you're pissed off about it, but you're like, "Fuck!" I mean, he's just talking about the shit that he sees, and it's some of it's not even like funny innately. It's just funny because he's saying it the
dude,
way he's saying it.
he is so funny. I love that man. He is the goat for sure.
Absolutely. So what are you excited about now that we're finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel? I just saw a report that they're getting rid of mask mandates outside for fully vaccinated people.
I saw
What
that too.
excites
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you excited about? What excites you about the future of dance music now?
That there is a future of dance music first and
Yeah.
foremost. We get to do what we've been doing. I say we. I'm pretty new to this. Like I'm just happy to be here, man. I'm ready to go. Like whatever, wherever they need me. I need to work my way up. I need to do my time still. Like I'm really happy with the progress I've made so far, but I know that I still got a lot of learning to do and a lot of progress to make. I'm really excited for artists everywhere just to get back out and, back into consistent income, doing what they love. And
Yeah.
I hope that we see a big effort in support for all these lost, all this lost time and all this lost money and stuff like that. So I want to see the industry really come together and just kind of like rebuild itself, which I'm excited about, clubs included. Um, yeah, just a return to normalcy would be nice, and just continued support of each other inside this industry.
Absolutely. I I got to pay respect to the fact that you talked about paying your own dues.
Yeah.
Especially you're a new artist, but you've achieved like a good amount of success like really early on, but I find it interesting that you still recognize that you have a lot of learning to do and that you still have to pay your dues.
Oh,
Um
100%. Yeah. I'm not gonna come off with like this ego at all. Like I'm really, honored with the quick progress, but I also understand that it's not something that I want to I want to give off that energy at all. I want to be humble always, and there's still like I have plenty of work to do. I have my work cut out for me, and I just need to continue to make music and just be optimistic about everything. But yeah, to that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell me about your favorite night out as a raver or a clubber.
Oh my gosh, dude! I went to Chris Lake. He's my favorite DJ of all time, Chris Lake, and he did in Australia when Australia wildfire was going on.
Yeah.
He did a fundraiser show at Sound, and I was 20.
Got
I
that
was
fakey.
20. I mean, I was of age.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm going to that show, and I went up and gave the guy my ID, and he's like, nah. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm 21. And he's like, no, bro, sorry. I'm like, no, I gotta get in there. Like, I've got a USB for Chris Lake, and I did. I just moved to LA, and I was like, Chris Lake's gonna love my music, and like, yeah. Long story short, I ended up like paying the bouncer like $100. Um, got in, ended up like networking my ass off just because I wanted to get Chris Lake this USB so bad. Got backstage because I met the right people and like shook the right hands. Ended up meeting like his manager and stuff, and I was kicking it. I got him the USB. Nothing came of it. The music was awful. I was way overconfident, but whatever. Like that night was huge for me. Like getting back there and seeing it from that side and like networking and just getting to know people in LA, all by
Yeah.
myself. Like, I didn't have my parents aren't there. Like, so that was really cool for me to kind of open my eyes to what that side of things is like. Have those conversations, stay sober, stay professional.
Yeah.
And even though nothing came of it, like it was a big learning moment for me and something that drove me because one day I will get Chris like the good USB. Uh,
Yes.
one day,
One
but
day,
yeah,
maybe
man, but
soon. Well, you're not the
yeah.
only one that's given Chris Lake a USB full of bad music because I've done it
I,
myself.
I sure did give him
Yeah.
a USB full of bad music, bro.
I also gave him a USB full of bad music at one point, but it was awesome because I got to I did it because I went there and did the thing, so I can respect
Right.
that. Like like just the idea of putting yourself out there because like you
Yeah.
miss 100% of the shots you don't shoot, right?
Bam, exactly. I was like, whatever, dude. Like, I gotta go for it. I love that dude. We'll when the time is right, we'll reunite. I know it.
Absolutely. Um, so we're getting close to the end. Um, and I always like to do a speed round. Speed round is basically I have a list of questions here. Some of them you might have answered in the interview already. Some of them you didn't. I'm just going to ask you, and you just give me your answers as fast as you can.
Cool.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Tacos or burritos?
Oh shit. Shit. Why is this one getting me? Tacos.
Intimate club or festival?
Intimate club.
Snow or beach?
Snow.
Oh, that makes sense.
I love snow. Yeah.
Snow is all bad for me. I do not do cold weather.
I've been skiing my whole life. I love snow.
Awesome. You're not too far from it in LA either.
Oh yeah, no, I gotta ski in LA for sure. I've been meaning to.
Awesome. Lake or ocean?
Lake. I'm afraid of the ocean.
You're afraid of the ocean?
Oh god, there's so much out there. Ugh, I don't like that. No, no, no. No,
Do
no,
you
no.
so when you go to the beach, you don't get in?
How do I go to the beach? I don't do anything. I literally sit in Burbank and make music. That's it. I don't do anything.
I love that.
Yeah.
If you could have one superpower, would you choose flight or invisibility?
Oh, gee. Invisibility. I'm afraid of heights.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
What
I'm
are you
not
gonna do with
flying it.
invisibility? You creeping?
Maybe. Who knows? I'll sneak into Chris Lake. I won't have to pay that bouncer $100.
Well, you know what? Then you could just put. Actually, you could go to his studio and just put the USB into his computer.
Yeah, and then just get arrested for breaking and entering. I don't know
But
about that.
you'd be invisible.
That's true. Maybe maybe I'll do that.
Massive or serum?
Serum.
All right.
Easy.
House or techno?
House. But I do like
Drum
techno.
and bass or trap?
Drum and bass. Easy.
Yes. Pop or hip hop?
Hip hop.
Favorite color? You
Blue.
think? Blue. That was that one
Yes.
was easy.
Easy.
Next one's easy too. Carl Cox or Chris Lake?
So much respect for Carl Cox, but I gotta say Chris Lake. Only because that's my generation. That's my thing.
Absolutely.
So he hit Carl Cox. Don't get me wrong, Carl Cox is a legend, but Chris Lake is
Absolutely.
Chris Lake is where I want to go.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I definitely feel that. Biggie or Tupac?
Biggie.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I may be from the Bay Area, but I rep Biggie hard.
Yeah.
Tube socks or crew socks?
I don't care.
Socks are socks, man.
I don't. What are these? I don't even know.
I don't.
Little ones.
The ankle
footies.
socks.
Yeah,
the
ankle
footies.
socks.
The
Yeah.
all right, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
Flip flops or shoes?
Shoes.
All right. Yeah, you don't want people seeing your feet.
Nah, I'm not. No. You don't have to. It's cool.
And your guilty pleasure TV show?
Bro, oh my gosh. I watched every episode. A guilty pleasure TV show. Okay, so my favorite show is Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Right.
But dude, I watched like Kitchen Nightmares for like a whole year. Like every night I would turn on Kitchen Nightmares and be like, "It's rocking, you idiot." Like I just love that. I don't know why. For some reason watching that dude give restaurants the business was like the best thing in the world. Like, are you kidding me? Like Gordon Ramsay. Dude, but I don't know why. I was on a huge Kitchen Nightmares kick. And then I watched this show called Love is Blind. And dude, I've never been into like whatever
is that the one where they're sequestered in two separate rooms and then I watched that too.
Yo,
that show's fucking genius.
Was low key sick.
It was
and there
so
was
good.
This crazy ass girl on there, and she was dope, and I loved it. I couldn't believe I was getting into it, but I was like, "Ooh, no way!" I was
yes. Oh my god, I feel so good that I wasn't the only one that.
Bro,
me and my wife were so on that show.
Yo, that show is crazy.
So good. Yeah. And on that Kitchen Nightmares tip, have you watched the old ones? Like from the UK?
Yeah.
Yes, there's some glorious one-liners that I'd love to sample from that. One of them is don't fuck it. Make love to it, don't fuck it.
Oh my god, of course.
And the other one was this shit looks like a King Kong's condom.
Oh my god.
Like
that's
Gordon
incredible.
Ramsay needs to put out a sample pack.
He does. I would definitely cop that for sure. Yeah, that's a great show.
Yes, it is. Well, I'd like to thank you for coming through today. It's been a lot of fun. I definitely like all the best to your continued success, and I can't wait till the next time you're in the Bay Area so I can come check you out. Do you want to plug anything coming up? I know you got some releases.
Yeah, I'm waiting right now. Big waiting period for me. I got two releases I'm waiting on confirmation. I'll have more info on those coming up, but more music is coming. I will say that. And then I'm gonna do a couple like free downloads as well, just on SoundCloud of some like flips that I did that I've been playing in my sets that I've been getting some love. I'm finally gonna put those out. But yeah, big waiting period right now. So unfortunately, I don't have a lot to plug, but I really appreciate you having me on, dude. This was great. And more very soon.
Very, very soon. Well, thank you so much. This has been Ranger Trucco. My name is Alex Morrow. This is House Philosophy. I'm here every Thursday at 1 p.m. Looks like we're about to raid to Artie. So go ahead and make that raid happen, Billy J Money, while we sit here and wait for it to happen because I know we're on a delay. Make it happen. Raid.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks so
Yeah.
much, man.
No doubt, man. Just waiting for the raid. And if you want, you can just waiting for the raid because, streams are on like a 35-second delay. So they just heard what I said 35 seconds ago just now.
Yeah, I feel that.
All right. We're going to bounce out. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see